This Giving Tuesday, the need is greater than ever. Families, friends, neighbors facing food insecurity in a pandemic. Together, we can help spread hope. Please donate to a month of 1 million meals, benefiting Feeding San Diego on 10news.com.
And good morning to you. Great to have you with us here on Facebook Live. My name is Jim Patton with ABC10 News, and we've had some fun conversations right here on Facebook Live. We're about to have one right now. Joining me is Angelo Sosa, and you may know him. He's a celebrity chef. Angelo, I don't know what it's like going through life with the title of celebrity and whatever it is that you do, but you are a celebrity chef. We would know you from Bravo and from Top Chef, where you finished second. You should have finished first. You were ripped off, but that's all right. We're glad to have you with us. And you've had some great success in the food world and continue. You write books as well, so people know you from many different angles. And we're here today to talk about the program that's underway right now. Month of 1 Million Meals that 10 News is involved with, Feeding San Diego, and the mission this year, more critical than ever, to get food to people that are in need, and the need especially this year because of what's going on with the pandemic. Want to start out by talking a little bit about how you come at the whole food world. And from the very beginning, just the way that you were raised, do you have a real sense of where food comes from?
Yeah. Well, good morning, Jim, and thank you so much for having me on. This is a charity that I'm just in a cause that I'm so passionate about. The people are incredible, honest, hardworking, devoted, and very driven to feed, all San Diegans that are going through this, really hard time right now. And I think the word is blessed. I'm not celebrity chef, but I'm a blessed chef and blessed human being. So thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. And as I said, I wanted to ask you, because I was learning more about you as we were heading into this interview. And from the very beginning in your own life, in your family, you really had a sense of the origins of food, just the way that you were raised. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's right. I grew up in a household. There was 9 of us, 7 kids. My father grew up in the Dominican Republic, and my mother was Italian, or is Italian. And, one thing that my parents were really amazing about was educating us about food. And, especially visiting a third world country, the Dominican Republic, at a very early age, I saw poverty, really in your face. Things that were jarring at times, but it really taught me the importance of, that you have to appreciate what you're given. And you have to, especially like in a Dominican home, rice was of abundance, but every single grain, my father was so adamant about never leaving a grain on the plate, that we have to appreciate all that we're given. And one thing that we did as a family, we grew all of our vegetables. I remember as a child, not waking up to go play kickball or softball or baseball or fly a kite, but waking up early in the morning to, tend to the garden, till the garden, really provide something that my father was extremely adamant about, and probably to this day why I became a chef.
And as you go into this business, the world of becoming a chef, the appreciation for food, obviously you're making meals that are known for their delicacies, but there's also just that appreciation you had just in terms of the value of food, in terms of sustaining life. And a lot of our food, the figure here is some 40% of the food in the United States gets wasted just because it isn't used. But there's a way that we can help to turn that around a bit. Talk a little bit about that in terms of salving food from restaurants and other sources of food.
Yeah, I want to jump back to ingrained in my DNA and my roots of my childhood. Like, my father was so adamant about utilization of, even if it was a green bean, not only did we eat the bean, but we ate the leaves, right? We ate the roots, we utilized the roots, and we had compost. So really, what I love about what I do, and Feeding San Diego and our mission and cause, is that it's a total act of servitude. It's a selfless act of feeding a real issue here in the country, as well as in obviously in San Diego. And So yeah, I mean, 40% of all food is wasted, which is about 8% of global greenhouse gas emissions. I mean, that's excessive, So what is beautiful about Feeding San Diego and very difficult at the same time, especially during this pandemic, is they really rely on rescuing food, right? And due to the pandemic, that makes it a little bit more troublesome to achieve that.
How does it work from the restaurant end? If you're part of the rescuing of food, what food isn't going to your customers, and how do you get it to Feeding San Diego?
Yeah, so specifically our restaurant in Temecula, we have a beautiful restaurant out there in Temecula. Fortunately, we are an outdoor restaurant. A lot of restaurants don't have the luxury of the outdoors. So for us, as a restaurant, one, it's impacted the supply chain, right? Well, first and foremost, we are a little bit more critical and really try to be a little bit more specific of what we're ordering, and that we're not being like overly abundant, so that we're trying to decrease that wastage, right? And anything of excess, we definitely do want to donate to a cause like Feeding San Diego. But I feel like, having an outdoor space is definitely been very advantageous for us, and a lot of other restaurants in this, during this time don't have that luxury. So we feel totally blessed.
What's the name of your restaurant up in Temecula?
Yeah, we're right in the heart of Old Town Temecula. It's called Small Barn.
And how has the pandemic impacted the business there? You talk about you can go outside. Are you able to keep business going?
Yeah, so we, the beauty of the restaurant, and I really genuinely mean this, when we opened the restaurant, it was delayed in all truth, and we had a bit of a pocket because there was an opportunity to open up before there was another mandate. So we did open up, and we really just were very convicted and compelled to serve our community, and really just bring joy to the community and bring joy to the people, versus trying to really just focus on what's going on, with this pandemic and how it's really traumatizing many people's lives. So we, as I had mentioned, we do have the luxury of an outdoor space. We do take people's, health very seriously. We temp everybody. We did close down our indoor dining. And we're just very precaution. We take temperatures of all of our staffs. Everybody wears masks. So we really just feel really blessed that we've opened this and there's an opportunity to serve the community.
I'll bet you're watching this very closely in terms of the orders that are going out, the purple tier, and the effect it's having on various restaurants that are out there. Your heart must just ache for other restaurant owners, even though they may represent competition, just by how what they're going through.
Jim, there really is no competition, especially during a pandemic. My heart goes out to, I know in LA County that they've closed not only the indoors, but now they've closed the outdoors, and a lot of, I believe it's over nationwide, 100,000 restaurants, 100,000+ restaurants have closed down, and that just breaks my heart. Because, not only are these some of them iconic restaurants or even small mom and pop shops, but these are people's lives, so, and it's just the trickle effect or the ripple effect of the supply chain is impacted in such a great way that it's not only impacting the restaurants, it's impacting, the farmers, right? These small mom and pop farmers are the cattle ranchers, right? Just the supply chain is being impacted in an enormous way.
Yeah, I mean, it's ironic that people that supply food for others who have done that for much of their life now finding themselves in need of food themselves and facing a hunger shortage or hunger because of what the current condition is. How did you, and this was before the pandemic, how did you get involved with Feeding San Diego?
Right. So it's kind of a beautiful story. I moved here from after being in the city for over 15 years. I moved out here in San Diego. I have a special needs son, so I wanted to be closer to him, and he lives in the San Francisco area. But I wanted to really integrate myself with the community and really feel part of a community and really feel like I was making a difference in the community. And San Diego and Feeding San Diego has embraced me. So my first interaction with Feeding San Diego was about 3 years ago when I moved out here with Month of a Million Meals, in fact. And I just felt embraced. I felt loved. I felt, a sense of purpose, just being a part of this powerful cause to feed hunger.
We talked about the food rescue program and the warehouse itself. I understand that you've actually been to Feeding San Diego's warehouse to kind of see how the operations work.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm somebody who likes to get really down and dirty, and I want to know all facets of what I'm doing. And the first drawing was just first, I just want to say the people, not only these people, purposeful and intentional and driven, but they're just so compassionate and humble. And it's just inspiring to me. And then, transitioning, the facility is it's beautiful. It's really, for me, it's very heart touching to see that that people just come together for a common vision for such a powerful cause to make a difference in somebody's lives. The facility itself they have a beautiful produce that I would serve at the restaurant and be proud to serve. It just is amazing. So there's no shortcuts here. All the product is impeccable. The people are amazing, and it's just really just an inspiring charity to be a part of.
It's interesting to hear you say that, because as we talk about salvaging the food, there might be this impression, oh, well, you're saving the stuff that the rich people don't want to eat, but it's not like that at all.
No, not it. I mean, if you see this product, I mean, you would find it at the farmer's market. And in fact, it is probably coming from the farmer's market, and that is the beauty. And I think that is also during this time of the pandemic, there's a great need now. I think it's an estimated increase of 50% of people that need to be fed. Prior to this year, last year, I would think it was over 31,000 or 31.5 million people that Feeding San Diego served. And now the increase per month is 700,000 meals. I mean, there is a demand out there, and there's very limited resources. And this is really, for me, the power of today, and the power that, my purpose, I believe, is to be that advocate, to be the outspoken, to know, I have, as I mentioned, a special needs son, and I could not imagine him not, his cognitive, his learning is so important, and when he doesn't eat, he gets anxious. And for him to have, 3 meals plus per day, like, this is important for his mental growth. So my heart just goes out to those families, because hunger is something that is hidden. It could be my neighbor, it could be a family member, it could be somebody who might be feeling, I don't know, ashamed or whatever. And that's what I love about Feeding San Diego. It's feeding hunger from the heart. And it's a beautiful organization with beautiful people, just doing the right thing to serve the community.
Do you, as we're talking about just trying to, and people making decisions over which bills are going to pay, the food bill, the rent, what they're going to do, do you have any tips from your perspective as a chef, how you can save money in terms of what you're preparing at home? Are there some foods that are fairly inexpensive that go farther than other foods that you might be getting?
Yeah, so what foods? First of all, I think, let's just use Thanksgiving as a prime example. The utilization of the bird, right? God willing that people had a beautiful turkey for Thanksgiving, right? Think about the carcass and all the drippings and all the excess. Like, the inevitable is to make a beautiful broth, right? And take that broth and make a nice soup and jazz it up with whatever you have. And then also too, I think, obviously have that amazing broth, but freeze it and then utilize that broth. And you could just alter it and in a way manipulate it into multiple things that could just really be, a great means of nutrition and sustenance for a family.
I know in my own experience, the leanest days for me were probably after college. I've never faced food insecurity in my life. And I don't know that I've known anyone personally that has. But when I was looking to really save money just out of college, I found that buying, the fresh rice, fresh vegetables, making a soup, something that could last for a week, you could eat off of it for a week, was a great way actually to save money as opposed to buying the pre-made processed stuff.
Yeah, wholeheartedly, and I think an important fact that you're mentioning too is the nutritional value. So even if it's a grain of rice or oatmeal or whatever type of starch that might be, I think really accentuating that those starches with fresh vegetables. Even if you were to pickle them or marinate them, just trying to stretch them and trying to add that nutritional value, I think is so critical here, especially for children. And really just supporting their learning and cognitive development.
During your time at Feeding San Diego, is there any anecdotal story that you can share?
Anecdotal story.
Your experience there, someone you met, something that struck you that sticks out as a memory from that?
Oh, wow. I feel like I have so many incredible memories. One of the most, I would say, humbling and provocative moments was being, and it's very kind of, maybe just seems to you, maybe just so simple, but just spending time in their facility and packing and volunteering my time. This was pre-COVID, volunteering my time to just pack the food, because I believe that not only are you, and one of my mantras is you are what you eat, but everything is energy. And just being there in the facility with a group of people that you've never met before, volunteering their time from their busy schedule, busy lives and families, and coming together for a common goal, and just coming from the heart and spreading love to other families. For me, that was just so, I would say, touching. It was very touching and very moving for me. And I will say, and just being fully transparent, one of the underlying reasons, other than having, special needs sons and understanding the importance of, especially children eating. I mean, all families should be eating, daily. But for me, I went through a life circumstance, right? You talked about that before. Is it food versus utilities, food versus rent, food versus transportation? Do I pay for the meal before us, or do I put the money towards the rent? Those real life decisions. And about 6 years ago, and this is the first time that I'm sharing this, about 6 years ago, I went through a really challenging life circumstance, and I went through the same situation. And I wish at that point in time I had the awareness, I had the exposure to, a cause like Feeding San Diego. So for me, this is a very powerful, it's very important to me to be an advocate for those out there that might, feel that they can't come, that they can't speak or can't, that need to hide, whether they're feeling that shame. There's no shame whatsoever. This is just life. And we have an organization that just wants to put their heart forward and provide for their community. And I think it's just beautiful.
Can you share what happened 6 years ago? Because we picture you, as I said, as celebrity chef, and that you're on easy street and life is always good and abundant for you. So can you give us a little more insight? What did you go through?
Sure. And this is very vulnerable for me, so I would be very happy to share. So I had a restaurant, and unfortunately the restaurant didn't go according to plan in regards to the finances, and unfortunately the partnerships that were involved. We just had different ideas of how to run the establishment, and then fortunately and unfortunately the restaurant ended up closing down and put me, out of integrity. I felt, regardless of my other partners and investors feeling like they had no need to honor their agreements of paying vendors, I felt that was a responsibility. So I stepped up and I paid the majority of vendors and paid people off, because my integrity and my relationships is important to me, and that was very important. But it was something that essentially put me in a financial position. And at the time, in all truth, I said to myself, why me? And then one day, after just prayer and gratitude, I just said, why not me? So that was the impetus of the fire within me.
Well, you're certainly not alone in your experience, and in particular with restaurants. My understanding is that most restaurants, I forget what the number is, but they don't make it even under the best of conditions.
Yeah, that's right. And I think this is, especially right now during COVID, we really need to stand together. We need to support each other. We need to be rooting for each other. We need to be supporting the small businesses, the farmers markets. I go to the farmers market. When I'm there, I leave, a really healthy tip, or extra money, because we're all in this together, and we're all connected in some way, shape, or form. And that is the beauty of what I think Feeding San Diego is doing during this period of COVID-19. Is they're embracing it. They have these beautiful. They've implemented these amazing drive-throughs, safe drive-throughs, and you could literally just pull up, open up your trunk, and we'll feed you, and it's totally safe. And what you could do is, those of you who are listening, please go on to feedingsandiego.org. You could type in your zip code, see where the nearest food distribution is, what days they're open, and you could just drive through with pride, and humility and graciousness, and receive the offerings.
Very well said, and especially what you said about kind of tipping more these days. I know I am doing the same. I feel very fortunate to continue to be working here. And now you go to the restaurants, and restaurants, especially the ones that you go to on a regular basis, they become family. The people that work there, you get to know folks. They know what you usually order, and you really want to see them make it. And it's just it's a tough time that so many are going through right now. And it has been an absolute joy talking to you this morning and learning more about you, and also learning more about Feeding San Diego and what they do. And there you can see on the screen, that's where, if you would like to help out a very worthwhile cause, Month of a Million Meals, it's underway right now, and you can be a part of this fantastic cause. Also want to remind you that it is Giving Tuesday, and we are holding our annual phone bank tonight. That's going to be at between 4 and 8 p.m., I should say, right here on ABC10 News. You can donate at any time, of course, at 10news.com as well, and support Month of a Million Meals. And we're closing in on 800,000 meals so far, and we are far from done. We've got a lot ahead of us. So it has been great fun. Chef Angelo Sosa, so nice to meet you.
Thank you so much, Jim. And just to everybody who's listening, donate. The dollars are being matched from 4 to 8 today. Call in, donate, and if you can't donate, be an advocate. Be an advocate for the unspoken. Be an advocate. Just jump on social media, do a post. Tag Feeding San Diego, and let's all come together and make a compounded difference.
Well said, Angelo. Thank you so much.
Have a
great day. Yeah, thank you. Have a great day, sir. And you folks at home that have joined us here on Facebook Live, thank you so much for doing so. And thank you for your donations as well, whether they have already been made or you are going to make them. We much appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody.